Your Excellency, if that is what already exists and the Johnson strike is still on, what then do you make of the comments of the governor of Ekiti State, who is the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, that says that Nigerian governors will start implementing financial autonomy for the judiciary latest by May ending? So what then is to be implemented if there is no issue?
I don't know the states. We are 36 states, and I'm talking about my state. I'm talking about the definition of, that constitutional provision. I don't want to go to the nitty-gritty of responsibilities, where the federal government is paying the judges, and then the governors are expected to buy their vehicles, and this is absurd. And I listened to one son in this kind of conversation, and he dealt with the matter properly, who has which responsibility. And without, going to cause more havoc, but I thought that the governors ought to just have responsibility to their magistrate courts, whereas the high courts, customary court and, the customary, Sharia court, will be handled by the federal government. But I think also to raise this matter, it is also very important that we can further this discussion and find how we can, put this judiciary matter, even within the federation account, whereby whatever is due to them is agreed upon, and then taken directly from the federation account. And of course, you need to amend the constitution because all funds due to states are given. But, just like, how INEC is being funded, just like how, TED fund is being funded, we can look at that. But I think in my state, I don't pay the salaries of, these people. The money that is due to them is sent directly to them. But don't forget, the incidentals and incidentals and such, that there may be issues that will arise within any arm of the government, which was never envisaged. And then what will the head of the court, for example, do? He has to fall back to the executive. You will never have enough, in terms of, what you get. So it's shifting of priorities. And that's why it appears as if, the heads of court, apply to, government. It's not so. For example, if a head of court is getting X naira, as the welfare, and, probably there is a debt, God forbid, and people are going to be coming from other states and so on and so forth. It wasn't envisaged, Definitely, there is one government. You have to fall back on the executive, and the executive has to shift priority to meet the needs because it's also the face of the state.
You're implying then that this implementation that the chairman of the NGF spoke about, Governor Kaide Fahimi of Ekiti State, are you saying that your state is not part of that implementation?
I don't think anything is changing in my state, but I think that largely what is being discussed is increase in funding, of the judiciary and the legislature. That's what, I make out of all these things. Because why would governor want to buy cars for the judges? Why would governor want to, payroll the workers, I think because why I'm confused is that what they're discussing is already happening in so many states, but largely the content of discussion has been a kind of increase in funding. And this increase in funding is what necessitates saying, look, if you come from, Abuja every month, that you now have a joint committee to share allocation. And I'm saying such joint committee must include the labor, must include the pensioners, must include the students, must include the market women, so that the card is all on the table, facing up. Nothing should be hidden.
Your Excellency,
because governors demarcate themselves so much by, by not showing up everything, what they're passing through. It is important that they begin to show everything, all cars facing up, so that the society will begin to know their limitations. Right. People, just 2 days ago, a bridge collapsed, built, so many years back. And then if text message started coming everywhere, I should intervene. Where is that going to come from in this kind of arrangement?
Your Excellency, I think the judiciary workers...
No sector.
Right, pardon me. I think they've been quite clear and vehement about what they want. They call it financial autonomy. In fact, the NBA has supported them asking for financial autonomy first. I mean, which can, of course, lead to other things like, increased funding and the rest. But the term they use time and again is financial autonomy for the judiciary. But just to put you on record, just so people can, get the major point, you are saying, in essence, that Ebonyi State has fully implemented financial autonomy for the judiciary as stipulated by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Am I right?
Excellent. Yes, sure. Excellent. Excellent.
So when you said earlier about disbursing funds, that if the judiciary asks for a certain amount and the legislature asks for this amount and the executive has a certain amount, that the judiciary can't get that because of the current situation. So are you saying that there's always going to be a peg to the amount they get from the allocations?
If, for example, I get $1 billion as my consolidated revenue for the month, and I deal with the first line charge, which is the recurrent expenditure. Of course, nobody gets enough, from the three arms of government. And the next month, I get 800,000, for example. What I do, because largely the executive, they always have the chunk of, the funds. And the chunk of the funds, go to projects. And so what happens is that some projects, we have to stop so as to meet the same amount that I give to them, even though I'm not getting the same amount of money this month, But I have to be committed, to this. But if I have more, for example, I suddenly have 1.5 billion, for example, I have to, find a way to also increase their funding. So what everyone gets is a function of what comes in.
Well, because, if this is the case, why then were the governors not happy with Section 7B of the Executive Order 10 that the president signed, which speaks about the Accountant General of the Federation taking appropriate steps to ensure compliance of that EO 10?
I'm still confused about this, and my position is that every state should grant financial autonomy to judiciary. It is not a question of executive order. It's a question of respect for, every arm of government. Yes, the governor is the head of the government, but there must be mutual respect. Whatever is due to the judiciary, within the limit of what is available, must be given directly to them. And it's as simple as that. There is no ambiguity in that. But how much you get is a function of, how much each arm gets. It's a function of how much comes to the state.